Overheating repair near me. So, what can make a car overheat, or what's going on when it's overheating? When a car is overheating, the engine is going beyond where the sensors say that it's supposed to. So, normally between 195 to 220 degrees. Okay. So you've got a thermostat. And the thermostat, basically, the way that it works is your engine is going to create heat. It's going to heat the water up that's inside of your motor. And once it reaches, 195, 210, 220 degrees, whatever the thermostat is set for, then the thermostat opens and the water that's in your radiator goes from your radiator into your motor, cooling it down, which cools the thermostat down, which shuts the thermostat, makes it close. And then the hot water that's in the radiator is the air is being pulled through it by your fan and by your driving. And that cools the water that's in the radiator as the cool water that's in the engine now from the radiator starts heating up, and that process just keeps going on and on and on and on. So, that's how you maintain your cooling system. Antifreeze, coolant, they're the same thing. Just know that. The coolant leaks can cause overheating. If you're running out of coolant, then obviously you don't have enough coolant to cycle, and therefore you're definitely going to start overheating. Your thermostat itself can cause all kinds of problems if it's sticking or it's stuck open, stuck closed. It's not reacting like it's supposed to. It's a heat spring steel that's causing that phenomenon to happen. It's not like a valve. It's a heat spring steel that makes that happen. You could have radiator problems. You could have a clogged radiator. You can have a damaged radiator. You can have, something that's impeding your coolant flow. And that's going to, that can definitely lead to overheating. The water pump itself, the water pump is what circulates the water from the engine to the radiator, from the radiator to the engine, back and forth. It doesn't just naturally move on its own. So if you got a water pump that does that, it's normally a belt-driven water pump that does that. Okay. So if it fails, in other words, it's got fins, and the fins, just like a propeller on a boat that makes the boat move, these fins make the water move. And so you can get a problem with the fins. You can have all kinds of different things that go on with a water pump. So it can be, the water pump itself can leak, but it doesn't have to leak for it to be bad. You can have a broken drive belt, broken fan belt that is caused. That's the number one. It's making the fan move, the air through the radiator, and next it's actually moving the water pump itself. In some regards, it's depending on all kinds of different motors. So, a broken fan belt, drive belt can be a problem. You can have low oil levels. And the oil levels, help to cool the motor. And the lower the oil level, then the more friction, the more heat, it's harder for even a good coolant system to continue to cool it at that point. You can have blocked coolant passages, and that doesn't have to just be in the radiator. It can be in the motor. It can be all kinds of different places. So it could be a collapsed radiator hose, coolant hose. And you've got hoses that are going to your heater as well, bypass hoses, radiator hoses. You've got all kinds of different hoses that water is going through. You can have a faulty head gasket. So if you have a faulty head gasket, the head gasket is allowing coolant to leak into the combustion chamber, reducing the coolant levels, or you can actually have combustion getting into the coolant chamber, which starts displacing the coolant and making it go out past the radiator cap, which is a pressurized cap, and that actually is a different system that dumps the water into the overflow back and forth, so that your radiator can overflow all the time. But if you have an overflow tank, then the overflow tank catches it, holds it, and then the radiator, as it needs the more water, it sucks it back in. So, I mean, cars are a lot more complicated than what we'd like to make them out to be. So, if you have to recognize the symptoms of your car overheating. Your gauge can be in the red zone. You can have a gauge, you can have a light. Okay. So, but the main one is your temperature gauge rising. So you always have to be glancing down at your gauges and your lights. You can't just pay attention to the surrounding cars and road. You actually have to pay attention to the whole car. And that dash is there for a reason. So you definitely need to look at the dash every now and again. If you get any steam or smoke coming from up under the hood, I mean, you need to stop. I mean, get over to the edge of the road and stop. Turn the engine off. You can create so many more problems by continuing to drive. You can take a small problem, like a leaking radiator hose or a malfunctioning water pump or any of the things that we've already talked about, and turn them into needing to replace that problem, whatever caused it, along with the motor. And I mean, understand, once your car overheats, it's more susceptible to other problems. So we don't want it to overheat, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Look for before you get in your car, just glance under your car. Make sure that there's nothing leaking. Make sure there's no oil leaks, coolant leaks, anything like that. If your engine starts knocking or pinging, that's a huge, huge sign that, it's either overheating or low on oil or something. Something's going on. Again, that's another symptom where you need to pull over the edge of the road and stop. Get it towed into your local, a reputable automotive repair shop at that point. Loss of engine power. Overheating can definitely cause loss of power or for it to stall. And most of the time we're anxious and we want to get where we're going, and we've got an appointment. Most of the time we're not. Most of the time we need to get where we're going. But understand the difference between a small repair bill and a large repair bill. That's massive, right? So, your check engine light also, you've got a temperature sensor. And the temperature sensor, once it goes out of range, will normally trigger your check engine light if everything's working like it's supposed to be. But we don't always have our car working like it's supposed to be. And bluntly, if your check engine light is already on, it could be covering up a bunch of other problems that are happening without you even knowing about it. So don't drive around with your check engine light on. And then I'm always saying, build a fantastic relationship with the automotive repair shop, that you trust around you. Get them to trust you. You need to trust them. It's a relationship, and it has to be built on trust. Don't walk in and think that they're going to try and rip you off. Walk in and give them the benefit of the doubt, because they're giving you the benefit of the doubt. So anything that we can do to find a local repair shop, get your oil changed on a regular basis, let them do the complete digital vehicle inspection, take pictures of it, videos of it, let them do their job the way they're supposed to. They'll constantly be checking your coolant system. They'll constantly be, looking at all kinds of stuff for leaks and weird noises and all of the stuff. The professionals can tell a lot more driving your car for 1 minute than the normal person could ever. I mean, it's not what you do for a living, and you're not supposed to. So find a local repair shop that you can trust and build that trust back and forth with each one of you. It is definitely the way to go. It is definitely the way to be. If your car is overheating, it can cause so many more problems. It's not even funny, and cost you so much more money. It's not even funny. Bring it in. Let us check it out.